AI offers a very tempting way to sidestep the vulnerability of showing up with your own rough, imperfect, generally human thoughts. I get it. I felt that pull myself. But here's what gets lost every single time we do that. Welcome to the Kindness Extremist podcast. I'm your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa. I've spoken to tens of thousands of people all over the world about the importance of kindness. And I am obsessed with how we can bring more kindness into our daily lives and restore balance to a deeply unbalanced world. Every episode, I'll give you 3 practical strategies to create a kinder world, and I'll do it in 30 minutes or less. No fluff, just valuable, actionable content that you can implement in your life immediately after listening to help you actively create a kinder world. There's no time to waste. Let's dive in. What's up, my friend? Welcome back to episode 53 of the Kindness Extremist podcast. I'm your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa. And before I dive into this week's episode, I have a quick update and an ask. So the update is that I'm currently on Substack. So if you want to continue the conversation after listening to my episodes, just go to sholarichards.substack.com. Come hang with me. I think you'll really love it there. And speaking of loving things, here's my ask. If you're enjoying my podcast, and if you haven't already, please take a moment to leave a rating and review. Both are so helpful in helping me spread the word about this podcast, and more importantly, in helping to create a kinder world. Okay, now let's get to the good stuff. I need to start with a confession. So a few weeks ago, I was in the middle of a difficult conversation with a family member. You know what I'm talking about. The kind where emotions are high, the stakes feel enormous, and you genuinely don't know what to say. And as always, I'm going to keep it real with you. So my first instinct wasn't to pause and to think. It wasn't to take a breath and respond from the heart. My first instinct was to pull out my phone and ask an AI chatbot what to say next. Yes, seriously. I excused myself to go to the bathroom, and right after I washed my hands, I caught myself mid-reach for my phone while I was alone in the bathroom. I just sat there for a second, a little stunned by my own reflex, and I thought, Shola, what in the world is happening to you? Now look, y'all, you know me. I'm not here to be anti-technology. I use AI tools regularly, and I generally think they can do some remarkable things. But that moment scared the hell out of me because it revealed something that I don't think we're talking about honestly enough. In a world where AI is being used to answer our questions, write our emails, generate our art, summarize our news, recommend our next binge watch, and even coach us through our deepest feelings, there is a very real risk that we will slowly and almost imperceptibly outsource the most human parts of ourselves. And that is a risk we cannot afford to take. Here's what I believe to be true. The greatest threat to kindness in the modern world isn't that AI will become too powerful. It's that we'll become too passive, too comfortable letting the algorithms do the hard, emotional work that only we can do, too distracted by screens to actually be present with the people who are right in front of us, too used to skipping the discomfort of original thought because a machine can generate something polished in mere seconds. So if we're going to be kindness extremists, if we're going to be the people who choose courage over comfort, consistency over chaos, commitment over convenience, then we absolutely have to talk about what it means to maintain our full humanity in a world that keeps offering us shortcuts out of it. This episode is personal, and admittedly, I'm recording this for me as much as I'm recording this for you. This one hits so close to home. So let's get to it, shall we? Let me tell you something that happened at my daughter's birthday dinner. So imagine this. Full table full of family, great food, everyone laughing, candles on the cake, the kind of moment that you generally want to remember for the rest of your life. And at some point during that dinner, I realized I had checked my phone 4 times in 15 minutes. 4 times in 15 minutes during my kid's birthday party. Not because there was an emergency, not because I was expecting something urgent, just because checking my phone had become so deeply wired in my nervous system that I do it on autopilot now, even in the moments that I care the most about. Even at my daughter's birthday dinner, even when she's right across the table from me, laughing and being wonderful. That moment still stings a little bit when I think about it. Now, to be fair, because I think this is important, this is bigger than an AI problem. It's a smartphone problem. It's a social media problem. It's a notification culture problem. But what AI has done is dramatically turbocharge our impulse to disengage, because now the pull isn't just, let me check Instagram. The pull is, let me ask AI to help me write this response, or let me see what AI has to say about this, or let me have AI generate an answer before I even try to think of one myself. We're being pulled away from the present moment more powerfully than ever before. And here's what gets lost in all that. Presence, real, undivided, phone down, eyes up, full heart presence with another human being. There's a powerful study from the University of Essex that found that simply having a smartphone sitting on a table during a conversation, even if no one touches it, significantly reduces the quality and the depth of the conversation. The phone didn't have to be used. Its mere presence was enough to signal to both people's brains, this conversation is interruptible. There's something more important nearby. I'm not fully here. Worst of all, it was specifically the meaningful conversations, the really real ones, that suffered the most. Now, imagine what's happening when we're not just near our phones, but actively consulting AI-powered tools during our most important moments. We are training ourselves neurologically and relationally to always be somewhere else, and the people around us feel it. Your kids feel it, your partner feels it, your friends feel it, even if they can't name what's missing. Personally speaking, I know I felt it on the receiving end, and I'll bet that you have too. So the first kind of strategy of the episode is to protect your presence. Here's what this actually looks like in practice. First, create phone-free zones and rituals. Designate specific times and places in your life where devices simply don't come. The dinner table is an obvious one, but also consider the first 30 minutes after you get home from work, the last 30 minutes before going to bed, one-on-one conversation with the people you love, and any moment where someone is sharing something emotionally significant with you. These are not radical ideas, but they're radical in practice. And that's why I'm sharing them, because they require you to choose discomfort, the discomfort of being briefly unreachable, of not knowing what's in your notifications, in favor of being fully present with another human being. Second, do a weekly presence audit. At the end of each week, ask yourself these 3 questions honestly, and I mean honestly. How many conversations did I have where I was truly, fully present? Were there moments where someone was talking to me and I was only half listening? Did I reach for my phone or a device out of habit or discomfort instead of sitting with the moment? To be clear, this is not about shame. It's about awareness. You cannot change what you don't notice. And third, practice the 2-minute rule for human moments. Before you consult any AI tool or device to navigate an emotional or relational situation, give yourself 2 minutes to sit with it first. What do you think? What does your gut say? What would your heart do in the moment? This doesn't have to be perfect or eloquent. The point is that you remain in the driver's seat of your own emotional life before outsourcing it to a machine. Here's the thing about presence. It is perhaps the single most profound act of kindness you can give to another human being. Not an expensive gift, not a grand gesture, not a perfectly worded message generated by AI at 2 a.m. Your full, undivided, undistracted presence. It says, you matter enough for me to put everything else down right now. You are worth my complete attention. I am here with you. In a world that is constantly pulling us away, choosing to show up fully is an act of resistance. It's an act of love, and it's one that no AI can replicate, no matter how sophisticated the technology becomes. I want to introduce you to a concept that I think about a ton these days, and I do not hear discussed nearly enough in conversations about where AI is taking us. It's called empathy atrophy. Try saying that 3 times fast. This is not an official clinical term, to be clear, but the phenomenon that it describes is very real and very documented. Just like a physical muscle that weakens when it goes unused, our capacity for empathy can erode when we stop practicing it. And increasingly, we are being given sophisticated new ways to outsource empathy to machines. It is so wild when you think about it. AI can now write condolence messages for you. It can draft apology letters, craft thoughtful check-in texts to struggling friends, generate heartfelt birthday notes, even suggest what to say when someone is grieving. The technology is insanely impressive. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. And I'm also not going to sit here and pretend that I'm above it all and haven't used AI to do some of those things myself in the past. But here's the question I keep returning to. When we hand it all over to AI, what happens to our empathy muscle? I've seen this play out in a concerning way in corporate workplaces. Leaders who use AI to draft all their employee communications start to sound polished, but hollow. Their words are technically correct, the appropriate tone, inclusive language, all the right boxes checked, but something human is missing. The people receiving those communications can feel it, even if they can't name what's off, because real empathy is about finding the right words, about the emotional labor of actually feeling with another person and then finding the imperfect, genuine human words that come from that place. Real empathy, the type of empathy that I care about, is messy. It fumbles. It sometimes says the wrong thing with the right heart. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. That's what makes it feel like love rather than a template. So the second kind of strategy of the episode is protect your empathy consciously and deliberately. Here's how to do this. First, do your own emotional heavy lifting. Before you ask AI to help you navigate a hard conversation, write a difficult message, or figure out what to say when someone's struggling, always try doing it yourself first. Write the ugly first draft. Let it be imperfect. Let it be you. The process of wrestling with how to show up for someone else is exactly what exercises your empathy muscle. You can refine the words later, but the emotional work has to be yours because that's where real connection lives. Second, practice active listening without an agenda. One of the most undervalued and underrated forms of empathy is simply listening without planning your response. This is something that I already addressed in painstaking detail in episode 39 of this podcast. What this means is no device, no AI, no strategy, just listening to understand. When someone is sharing something hard with you, resist the impulse to immediately problem solve or to mentally rehearse what you're going to say next. Just be with them in it for a moment. Sit with this. It's so much harder than it sounds, to be clear, especially for high achievers and fixers who are wired to immediately generate solutions. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, I hear you. That sounds really hard, and I'm here with you. Third, reconnect with your own emotional world. You cannot give what you don't have. If you're emotionally numb, burned out, or disconnected from your own inner life, your empathy for others will always be surface level. Journaling, therapy, honest conversation with trusted people, time in nature without your phone, these aren't luxuries or indulgences. They are the maintenance work that keeps your emotional engine running. Know what you're feeling, sit with it, name it. That emotional self-awareness is the foundation of everything. Fourth, and maybe this is the most important, notice when AI is becoming a crutch. There is nothing inherently wrong with using AI to polish your words after you've done the emotional work yourself. Again, please know that I do this too. But if you find yourself consistently starting with AI instead of starting with your own heart, that is worth examining. Ask yourself honestly, am I using technology to enhance my humanity or to avoid the discomfort of being fully human? Here's what I know to be true after years of research and conversations in the space. In every study about what makes relationships actually work, whether it's marriages, friendships, workplaces, community, empathy consistently shows up as one of the critical factors. It builds trust, it repairs ruptures, it creates the conditions for people to feel safe, seen, and genuinely valued by another human being. So last year, I had a conversation with a woman at one of my events who is sincerely convinced that her AI chatbot is the most empathetic and loving entity she has ever known. How sad is that? Look, AI can simulate empathy, it can approximate it, it can produce words that sound empathetic in the right tone and with the right sentiments, but it cannot feel with you. It cannot sit in the discomfort of your pain with a full heart. It cannot love you. That capacity to genuinely feel with another human being is one of the most extraordinary things about us. Don't let it atrophy from a lack of use. Hey, fellow kindness extremists, it's me, Shola. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're mowing what I'm growing, if you're smelling what I'm stepping in. Okay, I'll stop. If you're enjoying what you're listening to so far, I would love it if you would take a moment to hit the subscribe button and leave a rating and a review. Those incredibly kind acts go so far in helping me to reach as many people as possible who will join the movement to actively create a kinder world. I appreciate you so much, my friend. Okay, let's get back to the episode. All right, I want to end this episode by addressing something that I think is at the very heart of this whole conversation. When we talk about AI and what it means for our humanity, the thing that concerns me the most isn't that AI is going to take over the world in some dramatic cinematic way like Ultron tried to do in the second Avengers movie. Sorry, I'm a huge Marvel nerd. It's something way more subtle and honestly more insidious. The gradual erosion of our own original thinking, our own authentic voice, and our own deep sense of self. Let me tell you what I mean by this. So last fall, I was facilitating a workshop immediately after one of my keynote talks, and I asked everyone to spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, writing down their answer to a reflective question. Something like, what is one core value that guides every major decision that you make? Simple enough, right? Personal, reflective, introspective. So what happened next genuinely stopped me cold. Several people in the room immediately pulled out their phones, not to look up facts, not to verify information. They pulled out their phones to ask AI what their values should be, or to have AI help them to articulate what they personally believed. They outsourced their own self-reflection, the most intimate personal act of human introspection, to a machine. Now, I want to be very careful here because I understand why this happens and I don't want to shame anyone for it because we live in a world where the pressure to be articulate, polished and impressive is so relentless and so exhausting. AI offers a very tempting way to sidestep the vulnerability of showing up with your own rough, imperfect, genuinely human thoughts. I get it. I felt that pull myself. But here's what gets lost every single time we do that. You. Yes, you get lost. Your original voice, your unfiltered instincts, your hard-won wisdom, your quirky, specific, irreplaceable way of seeing the world and experiencing life, all of that gets a little quieter, a little smaller, a little less sure of itself when we constantly defer to AI to how to think, what to say, and ultimately who to be. And I believe this matters profoundly for kindness, because authentic kindness, the kind that actually moves people, the kind that heals relationships and transforms communities, doesn't come from a template or an algorithm. It comes from a person, a specific, complicated, beautifully imperfect human who has lived something and is willing to share it. That's why I talk about my own messy, complicated life on this podcast. Obviously, not to impress you, not because I've got it all figured out, because I certainly don't, because it's our stories, our real, unpolished, honest stories. That's the power to change people in a way that AI never could. So the third kindness strategy of the episode is this: be the author of your own life. Here's what it actually looks like. First, protect your thinking time. Before you ask AI a question, ask yourself first. Journal it out. Sketch the idea on paper. Talk it through with the person who you trust. The point isn't to avoid AI entirely. The point is to make sure your own thinking leads, and AI, if you use it, supports your thinking. Second, invest heavily in your own growth. Read books that challenge you. Take courses. Have hard, uncomfortable conversations. Sit with the difficult questions longer than it feels comfortable. Make mistakes and actually learn from them. Be mentored by people who actually know the things that you don't. All of these experiences build the character and wisdom that no AI can generate because they're built through lived, embodied experience. Your growth cannot be automated. Your character can't be outsourced. The work of becoming a kinder, more courageous, and complete human being is entirely yours to do. And third, tell your own stories. One of the things I hear the most from listeners is what resonates the most isn't the research, the frameworks, the strategies. It's the personal stories. It's the vulnerable, imperfect, real-life moments that reveal something honest about what it means to navigate this messy human experience. AI can do a lot, but one thing that it cannot do is generate your specific stories, your specific experiences, the moment of failure, the redemption, the relationship that cracked you open and reshaped you, the struggles that built you into something that could not have been built any other way. Those are yours, family. Don't stop telling them. They matter infinitely more than you know. Here's the bottom line. AI is a tool, a powerful, genuinely useful, and sometimes extraordinary tool. But a hammer doesn't build a house. A person does, right? You're the builder. AI is the hammer. And the moment we forget the distinction, we risk becoming passive spectators in our own lives, watching a machine-generated version of ourselves go through the motions while the real, full, irreplaceable us fades weakly into the background. You are not a prompt. You are a person. Remember to act like it. Okay, my friend, let's bring it all home. Today, we talked about 3 strategies for maintaining our humanity in an AI-obsessed world. First, protect your presence by creating intentional phone-free zones and rituals, doing weekly presence audits, and practicing the 2-minute rule before outsourcing any emotional moment, because your full, undistracted, genuine presence is the most profound kindness you can give to another human being, and no AI chatbot can replicate it. Second, protect your empathy by doing your own emotional heavy lifting, practicing active listening without an agenda, staying deeply connected to your own inner world, and noticing honestly when AI is becoming a crutch, because empathy is a muscle, and muscles that go unused will weaken over time. The world needs your empathy too much to let that happen. And third, be the author of your own life by protecting your thinking time, using AI intentionally rather than reflexively, investing in your own growth, and continuing to tell your own stories, because you are not a prompt. You're a person with specific, complicated, and utterly irreplaceable perspective on this world, and that matters more than you know. So here's what I want to leave you with, because being a kindness extremist in the age of AI is going to require something from us that technology simply cannot provide. It's going to require us to choose the harder, slower, messier, more uncomfortable path of remaining fully, stubbornly, beautifully human. That means looking someone straight in the eye instead of staring at a screen. It means sitting with the discomfort of not knowing what to say instead of having an algorithm say it for you in a fraction of a second. It means doing the real emotional work of figuring out who you are, what you believe, and how you want to show up in this world, even when every notification and every AI shortcut is conspiring to pull you away from that work. And I'll be real with you. I know this is hard. I'm still working on this myself. And as mentioned at the top of the episode, please know that I'm recording this episode for me as much as I'm recording it for you. The moments when I'm tempted to reach for my phone in the middle of an emotional conversation, that's my cue that I still have so much work to do in this area. I carry it as a reminder that I need to do better, and I will do better. But I believe, with everything that I got, that our humanity is worth fighting for, that our real, messy, and perfect connections with each other are worth protecting, that the full, alive, empathetic, original, irreplaceable version of you is exactly what this world desperately needs right now. Not a polished, AI-assisted, algorithmically optimized version of you. Just you. So here's your homework. And this one's super simple. But of course, in my typical style, it's not easy. This week, pick one human relationship in your life, a friend, a family member, a colleague, and commit to one fully present, device-free, AI-free interaction with them. No checking your phone beforehand to figure out what to say. No asking AI to handle a tricky moment. Just show up with all of yourself and see what happens. My guess, it might feel a little awkward, a little vulnerable, a little uncertain. And even if all that's true, I still believe that's going to mean more to both of you than you ever expected. This is your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa. You now know the kindness can't be weak because you just experienced the strength of the Kindness Extremist podcast. Until next time, my friend, the journey to a kinder world continues. Thank you for listening to the Kindness Extremist podcast. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. And I have one favor to ask you. If you could kindly hit the subscribe button, leave a rating and a review, not only would that be incredibly kind, but by doing so, you're actively playing a role in growing this movement and ideally getting us one step closer to creating a kinder world. I hope to see you next week for another episode of the Kindness Extremist podcast. Bye for now.